Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the new storage solution for Warhammer. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Show off your army in style with the new Warhammer display cases from Wicked Brick. So whenever a new product comes out, I always like to evaluate it and get an idea as to whether I want this. Part of my evaluation process is a little bit different too. I basically picture if this product was free, would I want it? If this product was $1 million, would I want it? And then I look at the actual price and see what I would pay for it. And then does that line up with the actual price that they're charging? Because a lot of times something will come out and it'll be cool. And if it was free, I would totally get it. If it was $1 million, I definitely wouldn't buy it. But if it's reasonably priced based on what it actually provides, oftentimes I'll pick it up. If it's overpriced based on what it provides, oftentimes I'll pass. And I think doing this simple process, whether I'm looking to buy a new car or whether it's just a display case for my Warhammer, gives me an accurate idea as to what I really want this for and what the value is to me. And then it makes it a lot easier to decide whether or not I should buy it. That way I don't buy a bunch of stuff that's basically just sitting around and useless just because it's cheap, and I don't waste money on stuff that's otherwise not necessary and is clearly overpriced. So this is most often useful when there's a new product hitting the market or something like that. Like I said, it could be a new car, it could be a storage solution for your Warhammer, a new gimmicky product for you to hobby with or paint. So anyway, I figured I'd share that with you as we're taking a look at basically a new storage solution for Warhammer. After spending dozens of hours building and painting your favorite miniatures, it's only natural to want to display them in the best way possible. Enter the new line of Warhammer display cases from Wicked Brick, size for miniatures of all types and even entire armies. Alright, so here we can see basically an entire army stored inside one of these new Wicked Brick cases, sitting on an end table. So obviously it's relatively large. We can see by the amount of models in this setup is probably somewhere around 1,000 points or something like that. And it does appear to be a cool actual case that will protect your miniatures, but then also has a Warhammer 40,000 officially licensed artwork backdrop. So I would say overall pretty cool product. If it was free, would I take it? Yeah, of course. If it was $1 million, would I buy it? Nah, I don't think so. So what is the actual sweet spot for this? Well, there's a bunch of different sizes and everything like that. And obviously it's going to be different for everyone. But let's take a look at what it actually provides, some of the features about it, and then see if it's reasonably priced based on what they're actually charging for it. So the new range contains 30 different size cases, each designed to fit something as small as a single Space Marine or as large as a decent sized army. Each durable acrylic case is handcrafted to order in the UK, contains a foam insert to prevent your masterpiece miniatures from slipping around, and is available with or without thematic background art. Okay, so it looks like this bottom piece right here is foam to keep your stuff from sliding around like they said. Obviously, if you're putting stuff on a display case, I would not expect it to be sliding around at all. And then we can see that the actual licensed art in the background here is a with or without. But honestly, these look pretty cool. The initial things that I'm wondering about is it's tough to tell, but are these gaps in the side right here? Because typically the reason I want an actual case to put my stuff in like this and display it is to stop any kind of dust, whether it's just basic dust from your house or your pets or your airbrush. It could be anything. That's typically why I want a sealed case to display my miniatures. Now, one of the negatives of why I don't necessarily like a glass or similar style case to display my miniatures is because they're typically reflective surfaces. So if you want to take a picture of them or use them as a backdrop for your videos or something like that, you might not necessarily want a glass or similar case. So I think whether or not it's actually airtight, whether or not the actual surface is reflective are two big reasons why you might want or not want a case like this, as opposed to just putting your models on a shelf. And then alternatively, some people don't actually display their armies. They just keep them in storage foam cases for transport, so you don't have to pack and unpack them every time they go play a game. So, are your armies going to be just on display all the time? Are you going to be actually playing with your armies either at your house or transporting them somewhere else? A lot of these things are important factors. You can even pick up fancy plaque for your large collections, starting with iconic Space Marine chapters you know and love, like the Ultramarines and Salamanders, and soon include factions from across the Warhammer ranges. So it's basically just a little display label you could get as well. Nice little accessory product to go along with the cases. So here we can see one of the smaller cases. This one is fairly tall still, but obviously just big enough for 5 Terminators to fit inside. Again, looks pretty cool, and I do like the backdrop. It looks like in this photo, it's not super reflective to the point where it's an issue. But obviously a lot of that has to do with the finish and then also your relative lighting in that area. For your extra special models, the feature display case range features specifically designed backgrounds and perfect sizing for those standout characters who really deserve pride of place. There'll be no guesswork to make sure your legendary heroes and villains look their best. And each character featured in the feature range will even have their own plaque available for a premium finishing touch. Okay, so if you're putting something like Lionel Johnson in a case, it makes sense that you would have like an individual plaque. But if it's just like a regular Terminator captain or something like that, you're probably not going to want like a plaque. I do think these are pretty cool though, and I like that they have like the variable sizes and heights. So we can see they have like some exposed like hardware in the like screws and everything that attach and build them together. We can also see that the tops appear to like flip open and up. So very interesting. Overall, I think this looks like a pretty cool product. Now, I'm not sure why their logo is basically like a Lego. If these are meant to be like stacked on top of each other or anything like that. They haven't really discussed anything, but let's continue on with the article. You can order Warhammer cases from Wicked Brick website. If you're ever looking for a display case that is beautiful as the miniatures inside it, now is the time. And here we can see like two of the different backdrops, obviously some Warhammer art. Pretty cool overall. And then there is a little correction right here. 3rd April 2024. There's no double reward points offer on the Wicked Brick website currently. Please keep an eye on the Wicked Brick website for details of upcoming offers. Okay, so they must have like incorrectly mentioned that in a previous article. So let's take a look at the actual like Wicked Brick website.
Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video.
Alright, so as soon as we pop up over here, we've got like shop the products by theme, solutions, limited edition, latest releases coming soon, and then Warhammer. We have display solutions for Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, for Warhammer just general, and then of course some Warhammer plaques. So all the plaques appear to be coming soon. All of the prices appear to be in British pounds. They did say that they were a British company. So let's just take a look at the actual options for Warhammer 40,000. We'll go over here to shop all. So the website itself looks pretty cool. The actual like display cases look really cool too. They've got them like displayed on like a wooden shelf in front of like a generic black backdrop, and then also like more of like a natural like brick backdrop. I gotta say these things are cool. I'm still not quite sure. It looks like in some pictures, just the way they're taken, that there is like a little bit of like a air gap right here, that they're not like airtight. And then in other ones, it looks like they're not. So I think it's just the way that they look here. It does look like they're basically like airtight cases. All right, so just scrolling down, we've got some various different sizes. We see like with the backdrop and then without the backdrop. So in this case, $16.99 to $21.99 or $14.99 to $19.99. And again, this is in British pounds, but it does look like the backdrop is basically like $2. So pretty reasonable, I would say. And then again, we see with like the larger ones, again, the backdrop would be $3 in this case, or the backdrop would be $5 in the case of the large one. So pretty reasonable backdrop art. It's not like you're playing like Warhammer art prices for your backdrop. And then we see the plaques are all coming soon for like Adeptus Astartes, Space Wolves, and then Blood Angels, etc. A bunch of different ones as well, also coming soon. So maybe we're a little early to this like actual website, but pretty neat. So let's take a look at one of the small ones, and then we'll look at like the army size one as well. So the smallest one they sell is 60mm by 60mm. We've got like an individual Space Marine inside of the case. Again, we see like the generic case here with the backdrop. It does have like some visible hardware, but looks cool. In this case, it's just some like metal pieces and screws. Officially licensed by Games Workshop. And then we see in the corners where they actually like screw together and everything. It does look like the lip hangs over a little bit on the back here, so you can easily like put your finger over it and then open up the case, because it does appear to be like on a swivel. Okay, so there is like a little piece basically where you can like grab onto to easily open this. So that is definitely neat. Again, we see like the foam little insert at the bottom here, and then you can see how simply they're like opening it up using like that little sort of rim. So pretty cool overall. And again, it does look like this basically, maybe not airtight, but going to overall prevent stuff from like getting inside here and make it easy to like clean your armies or like dust off your wicked bricks. So pretty cool product, I gotta say. So $16.99 for the smallest one, and that's going to include like a single Space Marine. So this is probably going to be like more for somebody painting up like your Golden Demon type like models or something like that. Let's check out if we go to like the larger sizes. So we have a small, a medium would be for a Terminator, and still a pretty big open area inside. And then if we went to like the large, so it got bigger but not necessarily taller, and then there is like a separate height so we can actually make it taller. So here you could probably fit like an Armiger Knight or something like that, one of the smaller knights in this setup right here. And we're talking about $21.99 in pounds. So I think right now with like the current exchange rate and then depending on like shipping and everything, you're probably looking at about 30 bucks for one of these bricks. So not terrible. It's not like amazing price, but pretty neat overall, including like the officially licensed Warhammer art. I gotta say, this is pretty cool. All right, and then let's go back here and take a look at like the Warhammer like army size case. Okay, so the small is 450 millimeters by 144 millimeters and 150 millimeters deep. So we have three different options right here. The smallest one is 60 bucks. And again, if we were to convert that over, you're basically looking at somewhere around like $75 USD. So not terrible. In this case, we've got a Redemptor Dreadnought. We've got like 5 Space Marines, 5 Terminators, and then a Captain. So you could probably fit a combat patrol inside this setup right here. And then what if we like go to the medium, 65.99, and then if we go to the large, that's 650 millimeters. And then if we go from standard to tall, and then we go from standard to deep. So now we have basically a $81.99 case, so about 90 bucks. So we're talking about $120 USD roughly plus shipping. So probably somewhere around like 150 bucks. Pretty cool. It's got the cool backdrop and everything. Let's take a look at the actual setup. So here we've got a Redemptor Dreadnought, we've got an Impulsor, 5 Terminators, a Librarian, a Captain, and then about 15 infantry it looks like. So it looks like about a 1,000-point army right here. And this does look like the maximum size that they make. So this is definitely interesting because to tell you the truth, I would think that the part that would make the most sense is to easily be able to fit 2,000 points in your largest case because that's like your standard size game. Now, I don't think there's any possibility you're fitting 2,000 points in this box right here. So in my opinion, that's a big mistake to basically max out before you could actually fit an army. So realistically, you could probably buy like 2 of these and put them side by side and fit 2,000 point army in it. Most people don't have just exactly a 2,000 point army. They typically have like 3 or 4,000 points. So realistically, per army, you're probably going to need like 3 or 4 of these. And I don't actually see anywhere where they specifically say whether or not these things are stackable. So we didn't see any pictures where these are like stacked on top of each other or anything like that, which is interesting because they basically have like the officially licensed Warhammer logo right here. And then they also have what appears to be a Lego. Now, obviously, it's not a Lego, it's a wicked brick, but Legos are stackable, and that's why they have like the little nubs on the top and then like the connectors on the bottom. But we don't appear to see any way that these are like stackable or any demonstration of them being stacked. Also, the fact that this is like trademarked and like pretty clearly a Lego is kind of weird. So I don't know if they sell other products that are more like Lego-esque, but definitely a little bit strange that there's nowhere where they actually like stack any of these. But I mean, based on like an actual Lego would sort of like imply that. So interesting setup right here. I do think these things are pretty cool. As far as price goes, are they worth $130 or close to like basically $200 or $300 per army to store them? I'm not sure. It could go either way. Obviously now here on like their regular page, we can see a bunch more of their like actual products. Here we see they have like an actual Lego storage container, like a storage container for little Lego men. And then also like some other various like model kits and stuff like that. Matchbox cars, some Star Wars stuff. So it does look like a pretty cool company. They got a lot of cool stuff going on here. A lot of different size cases and everything. You could probably find one of these cases that's more appropriate for like a 2,000 point army. And maybe they just haven't gotten that far. So what's my honest take on these? I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think they're pretty neat. The pricing on them is overall okay. But I think realistically, if you're after something like this, it's probably going to be for like a couple squads or a couple individual guys and probably not for a full army. I think it's definitely a good solution for actual storage. And I don't see any reason why you couldn't stack these on top of each other. I'm not sure that they're actually made to be stacked, or maybe they just don't do a great job like demonstrating whether or not they are, if they are able to be, because there's no pictures of them being stacked. But I think for me, at least for now, I'm going to stick to like the IKEA style display cases. You pick them up for like around $100 and they can fit like thousands and thousands of points. But let me know what you guys think down below. So I do think this is a cool new product. It's nothing particularly like innovative about it. I guess maybe like the foam mat that lines the bottom and then also like the officially licensed artwork backdrop. But other than that, I mean, there's tons and tons of like cases out there. You could probably even get something custom made if you wanted like exact sizes or something like that. The price is not particularly great, but it's not terrible if you're looking to display like just a few miniatures. Overall, cool product, but for me, it's an easy pass. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are you going to be picking up some of these wicked brick storage cases? Do you already have some of these? Are there any features that are not mentioned or that we didn't talk about in this? Have you a bunch of these and they're all stacked up and you think they're perfect? Have you picked them up and the quality is just not all that great? Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and if they were free, I would definitely pick some up. But at their existing prices, and while their prices aren't particularly bad, it's an easy pass for me, and I'm out of here.